Do you often forget what you read? You're not alone. It happens to the best of us. We dive into a book, get lost in the story, or absorb pages of study material, only to discover later that we've forgotten most of it. It's like trying to hold water in a sieve, isn't it? This, my friends, is the struggle with reading retention. It's a common issue that affects many of us, regardless of age or profession. Whether you're a student cramming for exams, a professional keeping up with industry trends, or a bookworm devouring novels, we all want to remember what we read. But alas, our minds are not always cooperative. The good news is, this isn't an insurmountable problem. It's just a matter of using the right strategies to train our brains. So, buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey to make your reading count. But don't worry. Today we'll explore some fantastic strategies to make your reading count. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any new updates. Ever heard of active reading? No, it's not reading while doing squats. Let's dive into what it really is. Imagine you're at a party. You meet someone new, and they start talking to you. You nod, you smile, but your mind is elsewhere. Later, you can't remember a single thing they said. That's passive reading. You're going through the motions, but not really engaging. Now let's rewind. You're back at the party, and this time you're really listening. You ask questions, you relate their experiences to your own, you're involved in the conversation. The next day, you remember their stories, their jokes, their favorite color. That, my friends, is active reading. Active reading is like turning the page into a stage. Each word is a character, each sentence a scene. You don't just watch the show, you're a part of it. You ask questions like, why did the character do that? What does this word mean? Or how does this relate to what I already know? You're not just a spectator, you're a participant. If reading were a sandwich, active reading would be like savoring every bite, dissecting the flavors instead of just gobbling it down. It makes reading more enjoyable and helps you remember more because you're not just reading the words, you're experiencing them. So active reading is like having a conversation with the book. And no, it doesn't answer back. Now let's dive into the world of memory techniques. Spoiler alert, it's not about memorizing the entire book. Do you feel like your brain is a sieve, where information just pours through without sticking? Well, fear not. There are some fantastic memory techniques out there that can turn that sieve into a sponge, soaking up information like nobody's business. Let's start with visualization. Imagine trying to remember the word elephant. Now, instead of repeating the word elephant over and over, picture a giant gray trumpeting elephant stomping through your living room. That's a sight you're unlikely to forget, right? Just like that, you've made the word elephant a memorable image. Next up is association. This is where you link a piece of information to something else, preferably something absurd or ridiculous. Let's say you're trying to remember that the capital of France is Paris. You might imagine a pair of Eiffel Tower-shaped earrings, Paris, hanging from a giant wheel of French cheese, France. The more outrageous the image, the better. Now onto the method of Loci, also known as the memory palace. This ancient technique involves visualizing a familiar place, like your home, and placing items you want to remember in different locations. Want to remember a grocery list? Picture a loaf of bread lounging on your couch, a carton of milk chilling in your bathtub, and a bunch of bananas hanging out on your bed. Take a mental walk through your home and voila, there's your grocery list. These techniques might sound a bit outlandish, but trust me, they work. They tap into our brain's powerful visual and spatial memory, allowing us to remember things in vivid, unforgettable detail. So, while you might not be able to memorize an entire book with these techniques, you can certainly make the information stick. And who knows, you might even have a bit of fun while you're at it. Remember, these techniques are not magic. But hey, they can make you feel like the wizard. Let's talk about note-taking. No, not the copying everything from the book kind of notes. Now you might be thinking, note-taking? Isn't that just for students? Well, not quite. Note-taking is a powerful tool that can enhance anyone's ability to retain information, whether you're reading a book for pleasure or studying for an exam. When you take notes, you're not just passively reading, you're actively engaging with the material. This means you're more likely to remember what you've read. And here's the key, effective note-taking isn't about turning your notebook into a second copy of your book. It's about summarizing the important points in your own words. Think of your notes as a map. They should guide you back to the key ideas you encountered during your reading journey. And just like a map, your notes should be clear, concise, and easy to follow. That's where methods like mind mapping and bullet points come in handy. Mind mapping is a visual way to organize information, helping you see the connections between different ideas. On the other hand, bullet points are great for breaking down complex information into bite-sized chunks. Both methods encourage you to distill the material down to its essence, helping you understand and remember it better. So remember, taking notes isn't about rewriting the book. It's about capturing the key points in your own words. Last but not least, let's discuss the power of regular review. Yes, it's like meeting an old friend. You know how you sometimes bump into an old friend at the grocery store and you have a quick chat about the good old times? And then when you part ways, you find yourself reminiscing about the past, recalling details you haven't thought about in years. That's exactly what reviewing does to your brain. After you've consumed a piece of information, be it a book chapter, an article, or a lecture, it's like you've just had a chat with a newfound friend. You're excited, you've learned a lot, but the details are still a bit fuzzy. Now imagine if you just let this new friend drift away, without ever catching up again. Over time, you'd probably forget their name, their face, and the things they told you. Similarly, if you don't review the information you've learned, it will start to fade away from your memory. But if you schedule a catch-up session, say a week later, you reinforce the details of your encounter. You remember the friend's name, their face, and your conversation becomes more vivid. This is the power of regular review. Here's a fun way to look at it. Picture your brain as a big, messy room. Every new piece of information is like a new item you bring into the room. At first, it's easy to remember where you put it. But as you bring in more items, things start to get cluttered. Regular review is like tidying up the room. It helps you remember where you put each item, and makes it easier to find it when you need it. So, just like you'd schedule a coffee catch-up with your friends, make sure to schedule regular reviews of the information you've learned. It doesn't have to be a long, tedious process. Even a quick recap can do wonders for your memory retention. So, regular review is like catching up with an old friend. You refresh your memories and strengthen your bond. There you have it. Hope this helps you out. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.